You coming into that?
No.
Did you see what he was trying to do?
I did that.
It's
his thing.
Anyway, welcome to the Murali End. We are now live. The names below don't really add up. This is Mark Machado. This is George Dobell. And this is Nick Brookes. We are at Lord's. Sam Ellard might jump in when he hears me slacking off England imminently. It's day 2 of the test. Firstly, thanks to everyone who turned up at the Three Falcons yesterday. It was an absolutely brilliant night. I kind of had to leave early, but early, I mean, I left at like 9:45, but I think as I was leaving, George came in, and I'm assuming you had a great night.
Great night. Was it as late as that?
Yeah.
Was I that late?
Great curry.
Terrific.
I thought it was a great curry.
Nice company. Very good. Recommended.
And also, I should say a big hello to everyone joining us from the SriLankaSports.com page as well, Facebook, because we're live on that. We're the Murali, and we do regular content in English about cricket. Right, anyway, that's enough of the kind of pleasantries, though we are back at the Three Falcons tonight, so you come back to that. Let's get into it. George, you're making your debut on the show today. What have you made of... Let's rewind to the start of yesterday. What did you make of Sri Lanka's decision to bowl?
I thought it was reasonable. I mean, I never understand why people are that shocked by a decision to bat or bowl. There's only 2 things they're going to do. And when people, when they do something people don't expect, they go, no. It's all set up for today. This is the key thing. This will be the key day of the series. I genuinely think this. The pitch is flat. The weather is gorgeous. The attack is inexperienced up to a point. I think this is a fantastic opportunity for Sri Lanka, and they need to bat and bat and bat. And if they were batting at the end of tomorrow in their first innings, they would have done a good job. So I think this is, and that's why they did it. The pitch here doesn't deteriorate much at all, but it certainly doesn't deteriorate in the first 2 or 3 days. So they reasoned that if there was going to be anything in it, it was that first hour. And I think they did take 3 wickets before lunch. Whether that was a lot to do with the pitch or not, it's debatable. But I thought it was a reasonable decision. And but decisions aren't necessarily right or wrong. You make them right or wrong by how you play. And today's the day they've got to show they make it right.
I think in general, Sri Lankan cricket doesn't do well when it gets crippled by orthodoxy of the way everyone else plays it. And I thought I was a bit nervous about them bowling first, but I think it paid off because they got those early wickets. Look, I think that made the kind of in the ebbs and flows of this game, they're going into day 2, and the bulk of English, the batters you worry about are all gone, right?
They got hurt right at the end, didn't they?
Yeah, I think actually that they were in control of the game for most of the day. I think they won the first 2 sessions, but you probably go to close thinking it's just about England's day with the way that Atkinson and Root and Potts took it away from them. Quite lucky to get Root's wicket, otherwise that last session would have really looked like a complete disaster. But I think this morning, before they get into bat, it's going to be crucial for how quickly they can finish off this tail. If England can add on another 100 runs, then it looks like a bit of a mountain.
Oh, that would be a catastrophe. So it would be really interesting to see how some of them wake up this morning.
Yeah, because they all bowled 20 overs yesterday, all 3 of the seamers.
And Kamara definitely got slower as the day went on, didn't he? So it will be really, really fascinating to see.
I think Sam Ellard fancies a word. Come on then.
No. Firstly, hi everyone. I've actually got a question. I'm going to drop in a question and I'm going to leave. And apologies if you were going to get onto it. But I'll come on social media today. It's all about Ollie Pope. Ollie Pope. He's standing captain. He's number 3. He's approaching 50 test matches. He really seems to divide opinion, doesn't he? I want to get the 3 of your thoughts, please. Start with you, George. Where are we at with Ollie Pope?
Was a Sri Lankan cricket.
Forget everything I just said.
well, I'll answer it this way. I just don't think Ollie Pope makes the Sri Lankan team right now. Do you think that's fair, Nick?
Kusal Mendes just got dropped with quite a similar average, although albeit not in recent times. I think Ollie Pope has done all right at number 3, hasn't he? To me, he just looks skittish early in his innings, and you look at the moment as Brookes Smith being the real engine room of England's batting, and I think that Sri Lanka kind of expect to have them 3 down for not that many, and then think the real work begins.
Would Kusal Mendes get in the England side?
Absolutely not.
He really might.
Do you think? Maybe he's quite Bazball, isn't he?
Absolutely.
Keeping wicket, batting at
right.
6 or 7. I don't think he's better.
Well,
than
you're not getting in 6 or 7. That's actually Ollie Pope's problem. You can't bat 4, 5, 6 or 7. Those roles are gone. And so he's trying to go number 3. He doesn't feel like a natural 3. Brookes could bat 3, but I don't know why.
I think it's too early. It's too early for Brookes to move Brookes and Smith around. Just let them have another, Smith's so early in his career. I think you want him to have another kind of 15, 20 tests. And then, maybe post Ashes even. I think that's when you might look to move them both around and go, right, you guys have had your kind of rookie seasons-ish at it. Now it's time you've got to step up and lead. I think too much, I think Sri Lanka, there's so much discourse about put Kamindu higher up the order, but he's only played, 5 tests?
Yeah, 4 tests.
4 tests.
I think Smith's the one who might end up batting 3 long term, though.
You don't want to bat 3 keep, though, do you?
No, I think I assume he's a specialist batter down the road, maybe, George?
Yeah, he's got the techniques to Jarek.
Rahan's message in to say Kussel over Ollie.
I think that's a reasonable point. I genuinely do. I think that's a debate. I don't think there's necessarily, again, a right or wrong. John Norman does look different.
Yeah.
Half of
That's great.
How was Turkey?
He looks. I'm sorry, to John Norman, he's put on loads of weight and started to look like a potato. It's not John.
It's George Dobell from the cricketer.
John's far more handsome and young.
Shall we talk about what we might expect from Sri Lanka's batting? Because the most celebrated thing in Sri Lankan cricket is when they play a test match at Lords. The most celebrated thing a Sri Lankan cricketer can do is score a test century at Lords.
I just saw Sid Wettamuni, by the way.
There you go.
Need to channel a bit of his spirit today and just bat and bat and bat. I think if the openers can put on more than 50, more than 5, it would be really good.
Sid Wettamuni ruined my childhood. That was so disappointing. England had been thrashed all that summer of 1984. I mean, thrashed, yeah. 5-0 West Indies.
Yeah.
And they were so much better. I mean, there was like superhumans v England.
Yeah.
And then you think, okay, Sri Lanka come in and regain a bit of confidence. He batted into the 3rd day. And I reckon, check this, on the 2nd day, he scored about 70.
Yeah, no.
He batted throughout.
Yeah.
And
For a little boy, God, it was heartbreaking.
Between tea and close on the first day, he scored 10.
Yeah.
After getting out the gate quite fast, he just sort of was like, I'm not going.
There's
anywhere.
still a time and place for that. Imagine
We did a special
He
with
did
him.
that today.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Oh, no, that'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? And I think what a time for Pathum Nissanka to come back into the test side. Blue skies, packed house, flat pitch, game on the line. I think a lot of people in England still aren't that aware of him as a player, and he's such a player of promise. It's never easy coming back into Test cricket after a long time out, but this is a real chance for him to make an impression on the world.
Murali started about the time he made his debut, or just before he made his debut, actually. So I think, I've got I feel a close affinity to Pathum Nissanka, and I think he's kind of at the cusp of greatness, and he's at that moment where his career,
Greatness is strong.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of Sri Lanka fans. I heard a couple of Sri Lanka fans saying he's our Virat Kohli. He's our Virat Kohli. He can do it in all 3 formats. When he came in, there was a lot of discussion about his place, and both white ball teams said it was too slow. Now his strike rate's up there with the best of them. Unlike a lot of other Sri Lankan batters, he also has gears as well. He can drop an anchor if need be, and he can absolutely go for it as well. He really needs to get to the next level, which is getting franchise contracts, being a player that people talk, outside of Sri Lanka, people are talking about. He's got the biggest stage of them all today, or should do, hopefully, if we get those 4 wickets, or England declare.
England can't be
yeah. I really hope he can put a good performance in. I kind of feel he's one of those players, like a little bit like Joe Root, that once he gets to the 30s, you're like, he's set. You've got to wait for him to make the mistake for him to get out. Whether or not he can get into the 30s, because this will be the first time he's ever played any red ball cricket in England.
Well, I've got a lot of respect for this, because I know that right before the last test, or even at the start of the tour, you said look out for Kamindu, didn't you?
Yeah,
he did indeed.
And I had no idea how good he was. And I thought that innings, there were aspects of that innings that were really, really beautiful, really high class.
Yeah.
I'm all ears. So.
No, I think, Pathum, it's a great day for him. Interesting to see how Nishan Madushka goes at 3, having kept wicket, something that he's not that used to doing. And I think that he'll be feeling like his position in the side isn't that safe.
Yeah, I think so. I still think it was a bit harsh of Kussel getting dropped, because I mean, none of the top three made runs last week, but Crystal actually was incredible with the gloves. That catch that ended up being not a catch. If it was a catch, would have been one of the most epic catches of all time. Yeah. Which I know there's a lot of battery there, but
isn't that so crucial?
Yeah,
it's the most crucial thing.
And he's played so much of his Test career at 3. Chandimal not keeping, I thought, was maybe a chance for him to have a go at 5 or 6, where the ball's not going to be moving around as much, and maybe score some quick runs there. I wonder whether that still might happen in the 3rd Test if Madushka gets another couple of low ones here. We know Sri Lanka like to chop and change.
Do you know the other thing that would have really helped yesterday? I mean, it's probably a bit obvious, but they really could have done it all round, and they really could have done it with Angelo Matthews bowling. I know he can't. I'm not criticising him.
I think he can, George. I mean, he bowled a few overs in the T20 World Cup.
He's him in the field.
Yeah, I mean, he does not look limber, but I think
it's like Biden.
People pay £100 a ticket for this. You can't be watching Angelo Matthews bowl to be dominant. Angelo Matthews is just there to bat at this point.
I think he could have bowled 2 or 3 overs when Kamindu came on and done a better job. I think Dhananjaya could have bowled 2 or 3 overs and done a better job.
A couple of people asked about why isn't DDS bowling. I have no idea why he doesn't bowl himself.
Well, he looks a much better off spinner than Kamindu Mendes.
The bowling stuff with Mendes.
Yeah,
he's a batter.
He's a batter as a red herring.
It's a gimmick.
He's not confident enough to bowl the left armers in tests. It seems he bowled them in a 1 day recently, but 2 right-handed batters, and he's still bowling quite gammy off spinners.
I don't think there would have been a lot there for Dhananjaya bowling yesterday. To be fair,
no, I know it's much of a muchness. Really,
yeah,
Dimuth could have turned his arm over. I think it was just a bit of.
But he could have done with another seam.
Yeah.
And that is
in all formats, what Sri Lanka really need is a seaming all-rounder. If we found if we can somehow get Angelo from 15 years ago back into the side in all formats, and I think it would be a much more ferocious outfit. I think the other player who I don't want to predict what might happen, but I think it's possibly the biggest day of his career is Dimuth, because he's somebody who, when people do all the stats, some people like Jared Kimber are absolutely evangelical about him because statistically he's incredible. But for me, he hasn't had that one major knock against the major Test player nation away from home. And I think this is the perfect opportunity to do it. If he wants to be considered up there among the greats of Sri Lankan cricket, then he has to stop. Has to stop. He can carry on getting runs against Bangladesh, but he has to lay his marker down today.
They have to have someone on the honours board by the end of today.
Yeah, absolutely, and preferably a couple, I think. But Dimuth, I don't think he scored a 50 in England, has he, across tests or his little stint in the county championship? We saw him on the outfield getting his Test Team of the Year cap before play started, and I think he'll be absolutely desperate to make a big one and to get Sri Lanka off to a really rock solid start. I mean, what they don't want to be is 10 for 2 again. If it's a rugby score for a football score early on, then could start to look like quite a long day.
Yeah, we don't want that. No 3 wickets. Very quick.
They've got to bat past England.
Yeah.
I mean, they really need to. It's not funny. They need to score 500. Really.
Yeah.
They need to get and almost look at batting once. The conditions are as good as you'll ever get in England, I'd say. So it's a huge opportunity.
And I felt like the pitch got easier to bat on as the day wore on yesterday. I don't know if part of that was Sri Lanka's bowlers tiring as well.
They definitely did tire.
Yeah. But there didn't look to be a lot going on with the second new ball, did there?
Really didn't.
Exciting times, guys. Should we leave it there?
Let's leave it there.
We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be me and Nick and George are at Lords all day. Sam Ellard's here as well. If you're around, if you're a Sri Lanka fan, message us on socials and we'll try and come down and have a chat.
Actually, before we go, we should just have a little word on how well Lahiru bowled.
Oh yeah,
we were all sceptical about whether he was going to be a leaky faucet and whether if he went at 5s, he'd leave Sri Lanka looking quite short-handed. And after a pretty unpenetrative opening spell from Asitha and Milan, he came on and kind of changed the tone of the morning, didn't he? Bending his back, getting really good carry, seaming the ball around.
He got to 90, didn't he?
He
got to about 90.
Got to hit 90, yeah. He was straight up to Pope. I think he was up at 145. And
Milan, I saw it, was 87.
Yeah, and Asitha bowled quicker as well.
Roughly, I should say, shouldn't I?
So they all bowled a bit quicker than they did at Old Trafford. And I think, I don't know, I felt like Kumara had quite an infectious presence on that team yesterday, that he came and bowled really fast and everyone else sort of said,
I didn't think he'd be able to bowl 20 overs in the day. He was.
Yeah, that's
he's going to do that.
His first couple of overs this morning will be interesting.
Yeah, I think there's some sore bodies.
Bound to be. But huge opportunity. The game's in the balance. I honestly think this is the defining day of the series. I really do. I think that it's a fantastic opportunity.
George, if you could pick one Sri Lankan player to put in the England side, who are you picking?
Great question.
Well, off the top of my head, might be Jayasuriya, to be fair. I mean, be able to rely on really, I don't know, tight, economical left-arm spin again and again and again.
Yeah.
Could be a big day for Shard Bashir if Sri Lanka try and get after him like they did in the second innings.
But actually, Karunaratne as well. Opening batting. Neither side, I think, are particularly settled with their 3, and I think England are pretty happy with the 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, I think you're probably about right. Interesting. Thanks for coming on.
Huge pleasure.
Thanks for making your brilliant debut. If you want more of George, then you can ask George a question on his show, which is called Ask George. Look it up on social
He'll
media.
answer it.
I'm occasionally on it, doing that and all that kind of stuff.
It's better when you do it in front of your head. When you do it beside your head, it's like you're saying that you've got a mental health problem. It's a different.
I probably
it's
do.
a different look.
Probably do. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow. As I said, if you're around, if you've got spare mutton rolls, hit me up. I'll come down and eat one. We will see you all tomorrow.
And we'll be at the 3 Falcons tonight.
3 Falcons tonight. See you all later. Bye.